Hello, everyone. My name is Brandon. And this is my individual current event presentation for my Management 300 course at the University of Laverne. My presentation is named Nvidia, Failed but Persistent. Now, without further delay, let's jump on in. My article comes from the fortune.com. I have included the link here and will also include the link in the video description. On top of that, I'll include my slide deck and my submission on Blackboard if you want to follow along or refer to it later. The current event article I selected is called Nvidia tried and failed to buy ARM for $40 billion in 2020, but just reported a stake worth $147.3 million by Nick Turner, which was published February 14th, 2024. Now, I know that title is quite a mouthful, but don't worry. I'll dive into the history behind this event and why it's such a big deal in the slides to come. Here are some resources that I used to create my presentation and paper on this current event. This list does not include my article itself because I put that on the previous slide, but it does include CNBC news article that I used about the purchase attempt. We'll be talking about in this presentation. I also used ARM's quarterly and annual results in my research, ARM's website that outlines its products and uses, Nvidia's website that talks about its goals and products, and finally some information from Cisco on what data centers are, which will be discussed in. Okay, so before I can discuss the article and why it's so important, I want to make sure that everyone is familiar with the companies that I'll be talking about. First is Nvidia. Nvidia was founded in 1993 and is based in Santa Clara, California. Nvidia is a tech company most known for its graphic processing units, GPUs, but they do so much more. From their website, they build advancements in cutting edge technology and AI, reinventing modern graphics, connecting the physical and digital world through industry digitalization. Sorry, it's a big word for me. And driving the new automotive industry with all of the self-driving cars and technology that's getting worked into all of the vehicles nowadays. On top of its amazing and widespread expertise, Nvidia also is listed as number 6 on Fortune 100 best companies to work with. With all of that on its resume, it's easy to see why Nvidia is one very impressive organization. Next up, we have ARM Limited, which I will be referring to as just ARM in my presentation. ARM was founded in 1990 and is a British semiconductor and software company. It's most known for manufacturing and selling central processing units, CPUs, and licensing them out to companies like Apple, Amazon, and even Nissan. ARM's business model differs from most companies because it doesn't actually produce and sell the chips directly, but instead they license and sell the chips to the companies that I mentioned before, so they can build it and use it in their product. These chips are known for innovative energy efficiency, which is why they're used in mobile devices, automotive electronics, and various other Internet of Things applications. So instead of building them out and selling them to all the companies to be used in smartphones and everything like that, they just build the prototypes and the actual product, and then they sell like the schematics and the licenses for the ideas to the companies for them to build and use in their products. Now, I'm sure by now you're starting to see why a company that licenses out its products instead of manufacturing and selling them would be so interesting to a company like Nvidia, whose main competitors are the primary customers of ARM. So now let's talk about the purchase, or the attempt of purchase, that is. In 2020, Nvidia attempted to purchase ARM for $40 billion. This attempt was because Nvidia has a goal of expanding into data centers and cloud computing, as well as trying their hand in the popular AI industry. Nvidia's website details that from AI to data analytics, data centers are key to resolving some of the most important challenges. The end-to-end Nvidia accelerated computing platform integrates across hardware and software, gives enterprises the blueprint to a robust, secure infrastructure that supports development to deploy implementations across all modern workloads. That's directly from their site, and that basically says that their goal is to reimagine the data center and the emerging age of AI. Now, for those of you who don't know, Cisco defines a data center as a physical facility that organizations use to house their critical applications and data. So basically, a data center is a physical facility full of servers and equipment so that companies can just purchase space on there to house all of their applications and data. That way they don't have to have an actual physical server on site, which is why NVIDIA's GPU mixed with ARM CPU could yield a superior chip that would revolutionize data centers and AI. But unfortunately, all of this was for naught because the deal was stopped 2 years later, which is what we're about to get into. So what could have been? Had the deal been allowed to continue, though, it would have allowed the companies to join and grow and complement one another in areas of success, as we discussed previously, potentially creating this new computer chip that would revolutionize the tech world. Basically, Nvidia is fantastic with GPUs and graphic processing, and ARM, as you know, since it sells to Apple and Amazon, Nissan, and all the different companies, is amazing at CPUs. So say NVIDIA was able to purchase ARM, they could have combined their GPUs and ARM CPUs to create a new chip. So I'm sure you're asking why this didn't happen. Well, the answer is really easy. It was a regulation and trust issue. NVIDIA would have ownership over the chip that its competitors relied on, and they could limit who gets it and how much of it. So if NVIDIA wanted to, they could stop licensing the chip to its competitors while boosting their own technology with this new chip, creating a huge blow to the tech industry, which is why in the United States and Europe, NVIDIA received a stunning amount of resistance to the purchase, and it delayed it 2 years, and ultimately NVIDIA abandoned its attempt to purchase ARM. So all of that was to kind of come to this new emerging event. And this picks back up at the article because this year NVIDIA has disclosed that it invested $147 million in ARM since it couldn't complete its purchase in 2022. And I'm sure many of you are asking the same things that I was after I read this. How does investing in this company benefit NVIDIA and not just grow its competition? How does NVIDIA use the growing technology from ARM to boost their initiative for data centers? And how much of an impact will $147.3 million have compared to the attempted purchase price of $40 billion in favor of NVIDIA? So let's discuss the implications then. A lot of it remains to be seen, but it's an interesting turn of events for the company because instead of owning the company outright, NVIDIA has chosen to invest in the growing company that is ARM in hopes that they could use the technology that ARM invents. Instead, that's my estimation. This also shows that despite being blocked at the purchase of the company, NVIDIA still plans to hold true to its goals of revolutionizing data centers and growing in AI. This also tells me that they could not own ARM, but they will at least still attempt to foster a profitable relationship with the newly invested in company. And after reviewing all of this, I can say it connects to the class in a handful of ways. First being diversification, which is the number of different businesses that organizations is engaged in and the extent to which these businesses are related to one another, which is what NVIDIA had attempted to do, but was blocked. They were trying to diversify into multiple companies and the ones that ARM and their technology. Then there's also various levels of planning, which NVIDIA did, like strategic planning, which the book defines as the process of analyzing competitive opportunities and threats, as well as strengths and weaknesses of the organization, and determining how to position the organization to attempt to compete effectively in its environment. And that's what NVIDIA did. It saw that it does really well in GPU, but needs some help developing CPUs. Saw that ARM is a leading competitor in CPUs and provides the technology to all of its competitors. So they made moves to try to purchase ARM, but ultimately it did not go through. Tactical planning is also another way that relates to this class. Tactical planning is defined as intermediate range planning that is designed to develop concrete and specific means to implement the strategic plan. So from that, the strategic plan was to move into data centers, and their tactical planning was they were going to do that by purchasing ARM, which again was stopped. And there's operational planning, which assumes the existence of goals and objectives and specifies a way to achieve them, which their goals and objectives were to branch out into the data center and AI fields, which we had discussed. And their way to achieve it was to purchase ARM. And although, like I have said, it did not go through and they didn't achieve that, it's good to see the concepts from the book in practice in this attempted purchase of the company. So this has been my presentation. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.